They called it the future, a gleaming skyline rising from the dust, glass towers, driverless cars, fiber optic veins pulsing with data. In the heart of Africa, where old empires once stood, a new dream was promised, the smart city. But today, all that remains are empty roads, half-built shells, and silence. This is the story of Africa's vanishing tech cities, billion-dollar dreams swallowed by time, corruption, and the strange gravity between hope and power. Let's start where the Mirage first shimmered, on the coast of Nigeria. In 2009, plans were unveiled for Eco-Atlantic City, a futuristic metropolis meant to rival Dubai, an artificial island built on reclaimed land, backed by billionaires and politicians. It promised 10 million square meters of innovation, banks, headquarters, luxury apartments, a new Lagos rising from the Atlantic. The slogans were bold: Africa's Manhattan, the Dubai of West Africa. Billboards showed smiling families, drones, and solar towers. Investors poured in millions. Presidents cut ribbons. Architects spoke of a digital revolution that would finally put Africa on the global map. But behind the glimmer, something was off. The land Eco-Atlantic was built on, once home to fishing villages, had been eroding for years. Locals said the sea was taking back what men had stolen. Construction displaced thousands. Promises of jobs never arrived. And slowly, the vision began to fade. Today, the city still stands, but not as they imagined. A few towers gleam, surrounded by dust. The streets are quiet. A marketing video loops endlessly on a giant LED screen, showing the city that could have been. Residents call it the ghost of tomorrow. Further east, in Kenya, another dream was rising. Konza Technopolis, the Silicon Savannah, a place where Africa's brightest engineers would build the continent's Google, its Amazon, its Tesla. On paper, it was perfect. 5,000 acres of clean design, green energy, and digital infrastructure. The future was mapped down to the last streetlight. But 10 years later, the fields remain mostly empty. A few scattered buildings, a highway sign pointing to nowhere. Local journalist Aching Odiambo said it best. It's not that we stopped dreaming, it's that the dream became paperwork. So what went wrong? How did billions in funding, foreign partnerships, and promises of progress dissolve into air? The answer isn't one thing, it's a system. Each city became a mirror of power, where governments sought prestige, investors sought profit, and ordinary citizens sought belonging. But when those worlds collided, transparency vanished. In Nigeria, audit reports vanished from the public record. In Kenya, land disputes tied up construction for years. In Senegal, an entire city called Diamniadio Lake City was built for politicians and diplomats. But locals joke that nobody lives there unless they're on TV. A World Bank analyst once described these projects as monuments to ambition. He meant it as a compliment, but maybe it's also a warning, because monuments don't move, they don't breathe, they don't evolve. They just stand, heavy and silent. And that's what these cities became, architectural ambitions without human life. Yet the idea of a futuristic Africa wasn't born from greed. It came from something real. A continent where half the population is under 20, where young coders in Nairobi build global apps from their phones, where fintech startups in Lagos move billions without a single bank branch. The energy was there, the talent was there, the vision was there. But somewhere between blueprints and bureaucracy, the human story disappeared. In an interview, an urban planner from Nairobi said, they tried to build the future from the top down, when it should have been from the ground up. He's right, because the real smart cities of Africa aren't built by billion-dollar contracts. They're built in community hubs, in solar-powered startups, in slums where Wi-Fi signals float between corrugated rooftops. places where innovation isn't a press release, it's survival. In Ghana, a group of young engineers built a fully functional smart neighborhood using recycled materials and locally coded software. In Rwanda, a tech collective is building micro-hubs for drone delivery and healthcare logistics. In Ethiopia, digital designers are transforming Addis Ababa's informal markets into mobile platforms that employ thousands. No ribbon cuttings, no billboards, just people working quietly, one line of code, one solar panel, one connection at a time. So maybe the billion-dollar cities didn't fail. Maybe they just taught us that the future can't be built like a monument. It has to live. When you walk through Echo Atlantic today, you can still feel the wind from the sea, dry and restless. The glass towers glint against the sunlight, but there's no hum of life, just the echo of a promise that Africa could be more than its past, and it still can, not through mirages or mega projects, but through the people who never stopped building, even when the cameras left. Soft piano fades in. Because the real story of progress isn't the city that stands, it's the dream that survives. Voiceover, closing line. This is Vera, Stories Beneath the Surface. If you believe Africa's future deserves to be seen clearly, not through illusion, subscribe and step inside the story. Music swells, then fades out.